Hi, Joy Olson, Blockbuster Fundraising. Well, you know, something that's always on the mind of a development director that is really sensational good news is a bequest, right? Don't you agree with me that can be the very best phone call that you can get, somebody announcing that you have received a bequest. So I thought today this would be a perfect time to take a look at how to get bequests and also to look at the state of nonprofit bequest marketing here in 2018. What does it look like? All right. Well, I'm sure that you and I both know that bequests and bequest marketing produces the very best return on investment of any fundraising activity. And it's so exciting. And Tom Ahern, who is such a fundraising expert, says, hey, bequests, the return on investment of bequests really is kind of off the charts. And listen to this. This is an important quote from Tom Ahern. While a good major gifts officer can bring in 10 to 20 times her salary, or his salary, 10 to 20 times, the average major gift is smaller than people assume, only $5,000. Does that kind of surprise you? That kind of surprised me. However, they point out in this survey that the average U.S. charitable request is around $32,000. They also point out that we lag behind in the United States. In the UK, their average bequest is $54,000, and in Australia, it's a whopping $200,000. So, Bloomberg was really interested in why bequests, what is the state of bequests in 2018. So they sent out this survey. They had Tom Ahern's help and also a fellow named Russell James. And they got back some really interesting results. I thought I'd go over a few of those results, but mostly let's talk about how do we get these bequests anyway. All right. And they had like 367 nonprofits that they interviewed. How old were they? They were one was only 2 years old, one was 176 years old. And what was the range of their annual income? $30,000 to 85 million. Oh, wow, that's quite a range, right? So what were the results of this study that they just did, and what did they want to find out? And so they asked these participants over the last year or two about what percentage of your organization's total fundraising and donor relations time and effort have been specifically focused on generating gifts in wills or other estates. That's a fair question, right? I mean, bequests are wonderful. So how much time are you spending working on getting them? Out of these 367 organizations, almost 44% said nada, nothing, zip. They weren't spending any time going after bequests. Wow, that was amazing. So, I mean, if you're not going to put in the time, you can't really expect too much, right? Okay, so they asked the next question. Well, over the last year or two, about what percentage of your organization's total fundraising income has come from gifts and wills or other estates? Well, what would you expect? Of course, you would expect not much if they're not putting in much effort. Well, that's about what happened. 47.4%, nothing. They have no, in the last couple of years, no bequests. So figure they put in pretty little effort, they got nothing back. So it kind of equals out. So what can we do about this? I mean, how can we get people motivated to go after these wonderful bequests because they happen, and you might as well be getting them instead of the other nonprofit. Don't you agree? And they are so thrilling to get. So this was a question then that came up. When was the last time you received a charitable bequest? Well, nearly 29% of those 367 nonprofits interviewed said never. 29% never. More than 12 months ago, 26.4%. I can tell you from my experiences, my 20 plus years experiences, going on 25, bequests are so exciting, and they're never expected, really, some of the best ones. And that was their next question. Was it expected? Did you expect this bequest? 65.6% said no idea that the bequest was coming. 34.4% did. And you know, and I know, we have our major gift peeps that we work with, and some of them tell us often, and every time we get together and at every event, you know you're in my will. I really care about your organization. But a lot of your donors are extremely private and never mention it to you. And wow, what a nice surprise. So do you market? That question came up for these participants. Do you have marketing material solely devoted to bequest giving? Well, 71.3% said no, we do not. But nearly 29% said yeah. They're trying to figure out how to get more bequests. Question they ask: do you send a letter annually to donors asking them to consider putting a gift in their wills? 82% said no. No annual letter, no ask. Although 18% of those nonprofits said yes, they were doing that. And then they ask a question that I think is important, and I'm going to mention it right now. They ask these participants, do you have marketing material that mentions IRA redesignation? 24% said yes, 76% said no. The reason I bring this up is in my experience as a development director in the last, 8 years, is with the regulations the way they are, that any of your donors that are 70 and a half and still have monies, important monies in their IRAs that have yet to take it out, they want to get it out of there. And it could be perfect marketing time for you to go to really have a project and go after that IRA, those IRA bequests. So now that gives you some idea of the state of bequest marketing and what's going on in 2018. So how about now we talk about a few tips, hacks that you can put to use right now to get more bequests. There is really a lot to consider, okay? First of all, you've got to define what your program looks like and how you're going to launch it if you don't have a program yet. And during the early phases of your program and the ongoing process of running it, you're going to be looking for ways, certainly, to optimize your efforts, because we learn, of course, we're consistently learning what works and what doesn't work. So I found this article that I thought I would share with you that are 15 planned giving best practices that can help lead the way. And so let's take a look, and hopefully these will help you, and I'll give you a link to this article. But you want to, number one, build a strong team. And like with any fundraising program, you'll need a strong team. And if your organization can afford to do so, it's recommended that you hire a planned gifts officer. I know oftentimes there's worry that people want to blend it in with the major gifts officer's tasks, and it really needs its own area. So it's something that you should really consider budget-wise of having your own planned gifts officer. So even if you can't hire someone solely for that role, at least have a member of your development staff take the lead. And in the early stages, you'll need one person to guide your efforts, and you're going to need then a complete team to make those planned giving dreams a reality. Create an advisory committee. Number 2, create an advisory committee to help with your planned giving strategy. That's very important. And an advisory committee, like your in-house team, like your staff team, will be working to make the most of your program always, and the committee should be composed of people with outside knowledge that would be particularly helpful with a planned giving program. And I'd like to say right here, it's that your financial advisors and attorneys that really do a lot of trust and financial planning are wonderful friends to have in your corner. And I can't tell you, we had one gentleman, he was just a wonderful man, and he would have, and he was just a trusted attorney too, and older donors would go into his office and ask his opinion. Well, who do you think a good nonprofit in the community would be that I can leave money to? And isn't that kind of stunning? You would think that people really have this organized in their mind. Well, he would say, well, what do you like? What are some of your passions? Animals, children. But what I'm really trying to point out here, it's really important to have a good relationship with financial advisors and attorneys that handle trusts and planned, helping people with their estate plans. All right, now organizations running these planned giving programs, you have to be able to handle the financial and legal questions and implications associated with the gifts. You'll even be asked for terminology to use. So you definitely want to put together an advisory committee with attorneys, lawyers, financial planners, realtors, and other people who could bring much needed expertise. Number 3, you want to brand your planned giving program to match your nonprofit. Branding your program is good for the donors, and it's good for your organization. The donors get added perks that come with exclusive giving clubs, and your organization has an incentive for supporters to make their planned giving plans known. So when your nonprofit knows about those donors, your staff can certainly better correspond with and assist them. They better correspond and assist them. So, and this is something too that I really like. Let's see, the Oregon Humane Society does this, and I hadn't seen it before, but they have on their reply form a little box that you can check, says, I have been considering leaving a planned gift for Oregon Humane, but have not talked to anyone about it. So I just thought, gee, that's an excellent bit of information to get. And if you get information like that, to pay a big attention to. And of course, with your branded program, you want to offer special communications and opportunities for the members in this program, and certainly name the program. You'll see Legacy. It's commonly used in conjunction with these programs, like the Legacy Giving Club, for example. But you could come up with one that branded that's perfect for you. And planned giving needs to be presented as the premier donation option that it is. Okay, number 4, you want to learn how to identify prospects. Yes, indeed. Your program will be much more effective, much sooner, if your team goes out of its way to solicit planned gifts from top candidates. Just like you would approach certain supporters for major giving over others, you can do the same for planned giving. And planned giving donors are identifiable by a collection of traits. The two most important of these traits are loyalty and age. So there are some good articles on identifying prospects, and I'm going to put a link into an article that helps you identify prospects to learn many of the factors that go into determining a prospect's likelihood of leaving a planned gift. All right, step number 5, include age in your donor database. Although, by definition, planned giving is simply making an arrangement for a future gift in the present, planned gifts are usually allocated after the death of the donor per that donor's wishes as detailed in a will or trust. So, with that in mind, most younger donors are not thinking about their wills or their legacies. Donors who are setting up their wills will be the most receptive to any planned giving promotions. So get your board of directors involved now in your planned giving program and get them involved early. That is step number 6. Okay, your board can be very helpful. And donors will want to participate in a thriving program. Okay, they'll be far less interested in being the first member of your planned giving program. So, to get the program growing and thriving, go to your board members first. And your board members will likely have many of the identifiable traits of planned giving prospects. Plus, as a part of your organization, they'll better understand the program. So you want to go to your board first and really get them involved. And while your team is still solidifying the planned giving strategy and finessing the best approach, beginning with board members is a way to ease into the process. Okay, now, next step, begin your planned giving program with bequests. That's step number 7. Begin with bequests. Planned giving can get complicated when you start to delve into the various forms of donating, like charitable remainder trusts and charitable gift annuities. Gets a whole lot like my former career as a stockbroker. Just a whole lot of investment vehicles. Keep it simple. Soften your entrance into the world by starting with the simplest form of planned giving, bequests. Because bequests are straightforward gifts left in wills. And once you've mastered the art of handling bequests, from marketing for them to receiving them, move on then to the more complex type of gifts. Especially if you're a smaller nonprofit on a tighter budget, bequests are absolutely the best point of planned giving entry. Okay, step number 8, communicate with donors and board members consistently. Okay, you got that? Communicate consistently. Find ways to work planned giving into the conversation. If this is a new fundraising method for your organization, it is also likely relatively unknown to your donor population. Help them get up to speed with consistent communication about the topic and your program. Because you're going to have this branded program. You've come up with a name, you've got it going, and once a donor has announced his or her planned giving intentions and joined your branded club, that donor should continue to receive communications. Those communications will just be of a little different nature. Planned giving donors should receive less educational content and more acknowledgement and update-based communications. Ready for step number 9? Here it is. Incorporate planned giving into pre-existing promotions. Of course, now it's in your bailiwick. You've got a program, it's branded, and developing marketing materials for your new planned giving program from scratch, it can feel a bit daunting. So start by incorporating planned giving promotions into your pre-existing marketing materials. I mean, you're still going to have to build out the copy that you're going to use, but you already have communication outlets that you can insert planned giving into. For instance, a blurb about planned giving in your email newsletter, or add planned giving to the ways to give on your website page or on your reply forms. And with those in place, you'll want to develop planned giving specific materials then, like a brochure and an informational page on your website. Okay. Getting excited? Step number 10. This will be fun. Find quirky ways to market. Have fun with it. If you want your program to stand out, you'll need to find inventive and sometimes quirky ways to promote the planned giving options. This best practice can mean a variety of things. You could try adding a "Did you know" box at the bottom of a direct mail letter, or you could add verbiage about planned giving in your staff's email signatures. This all comes down to finding creative ways to diversify how your network is discovering your planned giving program. Step number 11. Provide donors with educational opportunities to learn more about planned giving. Educational opportunities. If it takes research and training to get your staff prepared to run a planned giving program, your supporters are going to need similar educational opportunities as well. So plan an educational event about planned giving to teach your donors about the option. Build your guest list from your top prospects. Ask members of your advisory committee or other experts in the field involved with planned giving to speak. They'll be the experts. You just present your branded program and your passion, and let the experts explain bequests. Remember to keep the event focused on mission and impact. Your discussion can quickly derail into various planned giving technicalities, so always steer back by recentering on why you're pursuing planned gifts in the first place. And in your marketing, emphasize that your planned giving program has staying power. Staying power. Emphasize your staying power. That's step number 12. Because planned gifts are future gifts. They're far into the future gifts. So people considering donating need to be able to trust that your organization will still be in its current state or stronger when their gift is actually giving. And you can share your future plans and your past growth history with donors to demonstrate the longevity of your nonprofit and its service impact. All right, step number 13, ask your planned giving donors to provide testimonials of experience. You want planned giving testimonials. People considering leaving a planned gift like to hear from those who have already made that decision. So ask your current planned giving donors to explain why they chose to allocate a planned gift and why they chose you, your nonprofit. Supporters will connect better with the personal stories of donors who were in their shoes. Because remember, storytelling is always, always a major force in nonprofit marketing for a reason. All right, step number 14, Make it easy. Make it easy to start a planned giving dialogue. People are going to have questions about this program, so your communications should account for that curiosity. One of the major questions I used to get all the time was, what is the wording I should use? Have it ready. Of course, from a legal standpoint, your legal financial advisors, and make it very simple. If you send out a direct mail letter, include a self-addressed postcard for a supporter to fill out to request further information. And when making planned giving asks to your most involved donors, begin by starting a dialogue about the subject over a series of calls or lunch meetings. You don't just ask out of the blue. With a sometimes complex topic, any ask has to be preceded by information, and the best way to share your knowledge of planned giving is through an open dialogue. Give donors the option to choose how their planned gifts will be allocated. That is step number 15. Donors leaving a gift of such magnitude will often want to know what their money will be doing. Some will have a definite idea of what they want that money to do, and they deserve the assurance that comes with helping decide how their funds will be allocated. So make sure that your organization has more specific allocation options than the operating fund, because donors will definitely appreciate the transparency. All right, well, there are 15 best practices for your planned giving program. So have fun with it. I wish you lots of good luck. Bequests are absolutely wonderful. I know we all agree. Lots more tips at joyolsengroup.com, blockbusterfundraising.com. Over 300 free fundraising video tips on our Blockbuster YouTube channel. We're here every week, Facebook Live, 1 p.m. right now, Pacific Daylight Time. Find us on our other social media sites, and we are enjoying our IGTV on Instagram. Hey, have a great day. Have a wonderful week. Thanks for having been here. Appreciate it.